You're listening to the Unlocking Africa podcast.
We started out in 2011 as a physical store. We kind of evolved and grown into having multiple locations, two other ones in Birmingham. With our daily and weekly interactions with some of our customers that come into the physical store, we realized that people were needing to travel from very far. How do you protect the integrity of the product that you're sending out from fresh produce with different weather conditions? The belief is that if a product is of the quality and of the essence that you want it to be, then it's a no-brainer, If I can't eat it, then I can't sell it.
Stay tuned as we bring you inspiring people who are unlocking Africa's economic potential. You're listening to the Unlocking Africa podcast with your host, Tessa Adamu.
Welcome to the Unlocking Africa podcast, where we find inspirational people who are doing inspirational things to unlock Africa's economic potential. Today, we have Olusegun Akande, who is the founder and director of Samis Online African Foods, which is the UK's one-stop Afro-Caribbean Online Superstore that are specialists in African groceries and original products of the highest quality. Welcome to the podcast, Olusegun. How are you?
I'm very well, Tessa. Thank you very much. It's an honor. It's a privilege that you've been able to identify myself as a worthy candidate for your podcast. So I'm very grateful and I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. It's great to have you on the podcast, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today. So before we get started, I was hoping you could introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about Olusegun.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, my full name is Olusegun Akande. I'm from the western part of Nigeria. I'm a Yoruba man from Osun State, to be very precise. I am happily married to my wife, Oyetola Akande. We're blessed with 4 children.
Fantastic.
Israel, Samuel, Daniel, Mary Grace. Daniel and Mary Grace are twins, by the way.
Okay.
And we're all doing really great. I come from a family of 6 children. I'm the last of the 6. I had my university education in Obafemi Awolowo University, Greatest Ife, with my BSc in chemical engineering. Weirdly enough, amazingly enough, I ever practiced as a chemical engineer and moved to the UK 2007 from, I graduated 2005, moved to the UK 2007 to be with my wife. And we've been married since then. And yes, that's just me in a nutshell. I'm sure I'll be able to delve more into me as we progress. Thank you.
Fantastic. So you've given us great insights into who you are, family life, qualifications, and your journey to where you are now. You're the founder and director of Samis Online African Foods. I was hoping you could tell us a bit more about the company and what you do.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tessa. I am the co-founder, not the founder, because the business was founded alongside my wife. At the start, it was just myself and myself. And we've been able to, over the years, grow it to what it is today. So yes, co-founder and director of Samis Online African Food. Samis Online, it's the e-commerce part of our grocery business. Samis also cash and carry, actually. And we've had our physical store in Birmingham since 2011. It started out in 2011 as a physical store. We kind of evolved and grown into having multiple locations, 2 other ones in Birmingham. And the Samis Online itself came into being from 2018, but never really got going until COVID came or started. Well, we had the COVID years in 2020. The business itself, it's a grocery business, very predominantly African Caribbean. Actually, much more African than even Caribbean, I like to really state. And we're literally one-stop online or e-commerce business for everything African Caribbean, from fresh food products, fresh vegetables, fresh produce, your peppers, your tomatoes, everything in that regard, to your staples, flour products, rice products, dry foods, canned foods, to drinks, alcoholic, non-alcoholic. The alcoholic bit is just pretty much from Africa, straight out of Africa. Everything that we stock and we supply straight out of Africa, Nigeria to be very precise. And through that platform, I've been able to service a lot of families and consumers all over the UK wide. Just before COVID, actually just before Brexit, we've been able to also service some neighboring European companies and cities, Romania, Luxembourg, Munich, and different parts of the world. Today, we're supplying, we're sending products into Northern Ireland, Isle of Man, Jersey, Guernsey. So it's an e-commerce platform where African food products can be purchased and will be delivered directly to your doorstep. We try to maintain the next day promise of the delivery, but logistics, delays, and different reasons may not allow us. But that's the mantra: next day delivery of everything, potentially every available African food product here in the UK, so you're directly to your doorstep.
Brilliant. So you've given us a comprehensive overview of the company and the online and offline elements of the company. So can you tell us about your journey in terms of what inspired you to start Samis Online African Foods?
Yeah, well, with the Samis Online, which is e-commerce bit of the business, the inspiration pretty much started from with the physical store in Birmingham and some of the business relationships that we have with communities and some other businesses. We felt like what we do in its exclusivity needed to start reaching more people, because with our daily and weekly interactions with some of our customers that come into the physical store, we realized that people were needing to travel from very far, and when you say very far is relative, really, because if you don't drive a car, and then you go by bus or train, even Coventry that is in the Midlands or in the West Midlands, of close proximity to Birmingham, will seem far. So we're finding that people were coming from far, from Coventry, from Walsall, Wolverhampton, Gloucester, Northampton, and neighboring cities. We're thinking, I'm sure there are better ways to this. It should be a bit more convenient for people to be able to get access, to the food products that they really like and they consume on the daily. And obviously, because of our uniqueness, which is pretty much African product, to some of the guys outside of us, it was always difficult for them to get access. So people were still pretty much subjected to just going with the flow of anything they have from any of the intercontinental supermarkets. So we thought it was important that we started to consider getting this product out there to people in their homes and their environments. And then we created a website, and then we started to do our own little campaign here and there to say, okay, we can do this. And it got going, and then it got going until we do a few orders a week, sending products out to people. And then obviously on the back of that, getting referrals. And then COVID came in, and then it was the go-to thing. Obviously a lot of people weren't comfortable with coming out into the shops to buy their product, even though the shops were left open, because we were, what were we called then? We had this name, key workers or key business during COVID. But then it just spiraled, and it just went all crazy with COVID, and really just been a business for us since then. Thank you.
Fantastic. So you've detailed that the inspiration behind setting up the online store started through the need to reach more people. So whilst trying to establish this, what challenges have you faced trying to grow the online and offline store?
Challenges, logistics, firstly, because ultimately you'd have to understand that how do you protect the integrity of the product that you're sending out from fresh produce with different weather conditions? For example, during winter, you find out that your fresh produce, the integrity of it may be compromised, because then it's rather too cold and then it freezes up. It gets into your home in your normal room temperature. So then it turns black, and then it's really of no use to you. And then you probably have to throw it away. And then we have to do a refund for you again, having us make a few losses there and there. You have to do that, how to protect the integrity of breakables, like your bottles of drinks. How do you protect it? Handling, logistics and handling. You'll be shocked at the kind of reports and feedbacks that we get when you send product out. We've had situations where delivery drivers will throw a parcel over the fence because the owner of the goods or the customer wasn't available and they didn't have anywhere else to drop it. They throw it over the garden fence,
Oh, wow.
breaking everything in there. And then obviously he comes back on us because we've got to do a refund. So you have that, you have you do everything you can do to give a promise that buy from me and before 12 p.m. today and you get your delivery tomorrow. And then lo and behold, yes, we do dispatch, but then logistics company will tell you, well, there's been a delay or your goods didn't get to their depot on time, so they can't meet the onward delivery to customers. But then these guys, within their rights, may not understand because they paid for a service. They expect the service to be delivered to them within the terms. And then when we're unable to do that just because of logistic issues, then it's a problem. So you find out that people were dropping off, people were very upset. I needed it for my party. I needed this at this time. And it wouldn't get to them. And then, losing customers. And then it was affecting our business. That's just one of a few challenges that we had faced trying to establish and grow the online business.
Okay, very interesting. So you mentioned something key, which is that logistics and handling have been a major challenge. So if you look at logistics or say the beginning of your supply chain, what has been the process or challenge of forming relationships with farmers or suppliers in Africa to support the quality and quantity of products that you are sourcing?
Challenges. I think what we needed to do ultimately was to be very upfront and honest with our local farmers. And we had to really get down into that conversation of compromise, where we had to establish that we needed to uphold, the highest quality in all the products that we were sourcing, simply because it just guarantees continuity. It guarantees sustainability. It guarantees continuance, simply because if I buy from you and I say to you, this is a grade of product that I want, and you don't compromise it, you don't dilute it, you don't adulterate it, even at the premium cost that you may want to give them to me, I can guarantee a market for it because one of our mantra is, and even in your intro, you had mentioned it about premium, high quality products that we supply. We would rather sell the best grade, highest quality product for a premium price than sell, subpar some standard products, or because we want to sell at a bargain or sell cheap. So that was one of the things that we had to fundamentally establish with these guys, that this is the kind of business that we are. We're an honest business. We don't want to package something as quality when it is not good quality. So if you can guarantee this quality, then you have a business for a lifetime. For the lifetime of our business, you have a lifetime contract with us purchasing from you. And I think it's helped in a few products with ourselves. The few products that are about to travel back to Africa, to Nigeria especially, to go directly to the farm to have that conversation that we don't want to compromise on things. Don't worry about it. Don't even try to mess with it because you want to make more. What you do, cost it for us, and we'll pay you your top money for it, and then just keep it that way. And so we really we understood that quality will be a challenge. People get greedy. And we said, don't worry, we'll take care of your greed. Don't get greedy. We're in this together. And if we can keep this integrity, if we keep this, and then it's good for everybody. And our product is one of those that even when we don't have it, our customers don't want anything else. You'll be shocked. There's a time that we had a delay in our shipment coming from Nigeria. And there's this particular product called the Jebugari. And we didn't have stock. We're running a week and we didn't have stock. And then we're under pressure because a lot of people were like, oh, why don't you have it? When are you going to have it in stock? And then we decided to buy from another supplier here in the UK. And then we handled the repackaging and sent it out. People literally were returning the product. They said, no, this is not a part of Africa Jebugari that we know. And we're returning it in store, online. They were emailing us and sending us pictures. We had to recall products. And we had to send it back to supplier. I said, okay, no problem. We're going to have to wait for our own shipments. And then what that taught us was we definitely then needed to continue to have this product on a regular. So every shipment, every container that comes in, we must have, even if it's 50 bags or 100 bags of Jebugari, we must have it because what we held on as our mantra, as our ethos it got validated by the fact that we bought somebody else's product and people didn't want it.
Interesting. So with that in mind, what is your process of sourcing and selecting the suppliers or products that you feature on your platform?
One of the things that we definitely always do first and foremost is sampling. Product testing and project sampling.
Yes.
We now travel far and wide. Probably last month or thereabout, I was in Ecuador because I had to go and do the product development myself. I've been on a particular product since 2019, and I'm still not very happy with it. As we speak, they've been sending some more samples through DHL. Even after I've gone to the factory, I've had to say to them that, we're at the printing stage of the package or the packs for the product and everything. I said, you carry on with it. I know you guys can do this. But for one last time, I want to see, I want to sample that product again because we just really can't do it. If it is not to the specifications that we want, we're not going to sell it. And I've said it to them. We both are going to lose money because if you don't send me what's right for our brand, then we're going to have a problem. So it's like that. So we're waiting for that sample to come in and then test it. If they've changed it or if they haven't followed the specification, then we'll start again. And that's how we closely monitor and control and check the products that we sell. Because the belief is that if a product is of the quality and of the essence that you want it to be, then it's a no-brainer,
Yes.
You would always have a return business. The supplier would always have a repeat order from ourselves. We would always have consistency with so it's like an ecosystem, it's like a network, it's like a life cycle, If everybody in that triangle is happy, then the triangle is active, But if he's not happy, I know for sure. And then you have two types of people. The ones that would literally come back to you and complain and say, no, it wasn't good enough. Give you a chance to rectify it. And then they try it again. And some people just walk away from you. And we know that. And we really want to give people any chance to walk away from us. So product testing, product sampling is always the first thing that we do. Either you approach us with your product or we hear about your product and say, okay, actually, we would like to stock your product. We want to taste it. We want to see it. We want to try it before we even put it out there. I also have a lot of mantras. Another one that I have is that if I can't eat it, then I can't sell it, which means that my level of acceptance for products, I set a very high bar. I'm a foodie, travel for food.
Yes.
I love my food. I love my taste. I love the cuisines. So I know what a good food is. I know what good quality product is. And if I'm not happy with it, if I cannot put it in my body, I can't put it on my shelves on my website for anybody to buy.
Fantastic. So you mentioned that you've sourced products from places such as Ecuador. I know a lot of your products that you source are from Nigeria, and currently we are seeing some economic challenges within the Nigerian market. We've seen the recent Naira redesign and the removal of fuel subsidies. How has this impacted the work that you're doing?
It has greatly. I wish I had those stats with me. It has. A couple of weeks back, I had an interview with a platform in Nigeria, and we're talking about the effect of the removal of the fuel subsidy and Naira redesign. So, for example, at the time of the Naira redesign, it meant that at that time, if you wanted 1,000 Naira, you would get 800 Naira. So you're literally buying your own local currency.
Yes.
As in, that's like the craziest, weirdest thing that could ever happen to any citizen of a country, where your own money, hard-earned money, sort of devalues and loses value right in front of your eyes. Because if you put 1,000 Naira into your bank account and then you are having to withdraw 800 Naira, then what does that mean? And then in effect, it means that whatever monies that we had to go into the farmers, to buy from the farmers, to everything had suffered greatly. So it then means that we had to then use more money to buy the same amount of goods and products that we needed to buy from the local markets, from the local farmers, from the local manufacturers, and from distributors alike. And it was a torrid time. It was a tough time because it then also meant that product prices skyrocketed. Because then when even the person that is going to supply you needed 1 million Naira and then they're getting 900,000 Naira or 800,000 Naira, for example, it means then when they get the goods in, because they're using less money to access the same amount of products, which then means that they have to account for the shortfall, which means that you that are coming to buy, you then have to pay. They're just literally transferring that loss onto ourselves. For us as a buyer, it's double loss because when we withdraw our money, we withdraw less to buy. All right. When we're being sold to, the shortfall they have made from when they access their money, they pile it back on us. So we're buying at a more expensive price. We are losing money when we access our money because of the whole Naira design issue. So again, that spoke to the difficulty and the problems and challenges that we faced in that time period. In terms of the removal of fresh subsidy, again, if you needed 5,000 Naira fill to get your product transported from one farm to your storage or your warehouse storage, then you needed 10,000 Naira. So which means that the owner of that transport that will normally charge you 5,000 Naira is charging you 10,000 Naira. Again, for the same 50 bags of the product that you need to transport, you're paying more for it. And then it means that, the cost coming on to us is more. Also, a couple of weeks back as well, I was on the Twitter space and the conversation then was, why are African products expensive in the UK? These two situations on its own, they were the reasons why product became expensive, because then all of that situation in Nigeria contributed a lot to that, even in terms of logistics, even within Nigeria. For every shipment that we want to do and every request you make for a container, I'll give you a typical example. About 4 years ago, a 40-foot container freight charge was 250, 300,000 Naira. Today, it's 750,000 Naira.
Oh, wow.
For the same quantity of products that you put in the same space. So all of those, from an economic standpoint, all of those are things that, and as a business here in diaspora in the UK, for us to continue to contend with that, it meant that, our margins are affected, our margins are, are dented, and then where we can, it's not commensurate. Even the prices that we are selling product here in the UK is not commensurate to the rate that we're paying in Nigeria. And then also you were dealing with inflation here in the UK as well.
Yes.
So it's just a lot of, to be honest.
It's been a challenge.
I don't know how we've survived. I don't know how we continue to survive, but it hasn't been a good period to be a business person. And that's my honest truth.
Thank you for sharing that. So with those current challenges and increased cost of purchasing products, how do you go about ensuring that your products are still accessible and affordable to your customers?
Well, that's a very good one. I think one of the things that has helped us is the fact that we're relentless. We're relentless in our beliefs. Even as we know that these things are happening, we continue to have that conversation with our suppliers, the local farmers, and we kind of just continue to guarantee that, yes, we understand what's happening, we see what's going on. Unfortunately, we can't compromise. If you compromise, you lose us as a business. Ultimately, we've had to just increase product prices just to allow for us to be able to cope. Because I think for us, because we're also end-to-end, and what do I mean by end-to-end is, where we do our own import ourselves, and then we have product brands here that, a lot of this, when we bulk buy a lot. So then we break it down into smaller units, and then we sell that on either to traders or retailers through our B2B platform, or we sell it direct to the consumers. I think that sourcing directly has continued to help because we've been able to sort of leverage on one or two things to keep the cost down. One of the things that we thought of doing was also to do a bit more production operations from Nigeria as well, so that we can also bring down the cost, because whether we like it or not, even here in the UK, obviously, wages have going up every year. The living wage used to go up every year by, I think, 33.6%. This last year onto this year went up by 9.7%.
Yeah.
And we're lucky that we're still one of those that are still able to keep our workforce. We hardly make any of our staff redundant. If anything at all, we kind of still keep growing. And I think one of the things that help us is even within what we do here in the UK, we continue to evolve. We continue to introduce new products, new ideas, new innovations, and it has continued to sustain us. So yes, I think Firstly is we just put it out there. We can't mess with the quality of our products. We can't mess with anything. Worst case scenario, we just have to increase the price. Sometimes, some tricks in the business where the quantity or the volume of the product may be reduced.
Yes.
For you to, you understand. So
yes.
If it was 1 kg before, but then it's all there on the label. So it's not like it's a funny solution. No. So for example, if 1 kg of an item is costing you $9.99, and we know that, to be honest, $9.99 is the ceiling for this product. That you're looking at, the product coming down to about 800 grams, and then you keep your $9.99. So within us, there are just different ways that we explore to make sure that one, products are still very competitive. And then again, we leverage on volume. And with the volume, to be honest, we're one of the very few in the online marketplace where we still give a lot of loyalty reward points. So even when we can't really touch or do anything on the price of a product, on our website right now, every product has a point on it. So for every time you shop, you buy one product, you get a reward point. And then once you accumulate it over a certain number, then you can convert it into your local currency, in this case, pounds, and then you can use it and at checkout, and then it gives you discounts. Every now and then we do flash sales. Every now and then, products come in, and we have quite a bit of it. I think actually we can take 50p off here, we can take £1 off here, and then just to keep the positive energy going. I think last year, sometime last year, we actually went into our back end, and we realized that we had over £7,000 worth of unclaimed funds or reward monies, and we had to do a post. I said, guys, here's money sitting in our bank account. Can you please come and get it? Because we realized that most people didn't even know that they've been accumulating the points for them to use to make savings. So then there was a flurry of activities. Oh, I didn't know, and then we had to send videos on how to claim your points and everything. And people claiming that we're very happy. We do monthly sales, we do different things. We just engage everything that we can, because we believe that even when we give out those savings, because it drives business, it helps us sell more, then we're able to, balance it out in terms of, even though, yes, it may seem like you make a loss by, giving people discounts and savings, but again, we're moving the product out of the door, and then we're replenishing again, and then we just keep the wheel going. And that's how we've been able to manage so far.
Fantastic. So you've detailed that despite the challenges, you've still maintained strong relationship with suppliers in Nigeria. So what impact do you believe your business has had on the communities that you source your products from?
Well, employment, for starts, obviously, are continuous. I think every month there's a good volume of products that we purchase and then we export out of Nigeria. And that in itself ensured that their own staff, and their own businesses continue to run. There are conversations with some of them on how they can also scale their business. For example, there are some products that you could actually just, from the rawness of it, there are other things you can do to it, to like the Garys now, how they fry it, different. We're having conversations about potential investment into some sort of mechanization or some sort of equipment that can help the process faster, then it can do more volume. Because sometimes we have to wait weeks. Sometimes what we need is a matter of days, to get product out, but sometimes you have to wait weeks because of the manpower and the laborious nature of how some of these products are manufactured or created, as it were. And then we're speaking in terms of investment into some of their businesses and how we can help them improve on the delivery of this product to time. Like I said, the job opportunities continue to be there. And then that in itself, enables them to be able to take care of their family, pay their bills, and all of that. And we have situations where because of what we do from Nigeria in terms of giving back as well, we have 1 or 2 charity businesses that we're doing in Nigeria, feeding communities of a local area where we source our products from. So every week, there's a day of the week where, they all gather together and then we'll feed them more like a feast for them and their families and all that. So yes, we do our own little bits there and there just to impact on local farmers back in Nigeria.
Fantastic. Amazing work. As we know, your business is an international business which has a strong physical element with manufacturing and logistics. So I was wondering if you could give us a bit more detail with regards to what role has technology played in supporting these elements of your business operations and the growth?
Well, honestly, you wouldn't even have anything e-commerce or online without technology because anything e-commerce is technology driven. And that has helped a lot, simply because if not, you would have had to be traveling miles and miles on end to get from point A to point B where you want to source your product from. So the fact that you could actually, on the palm of your hand or through your PC or your laptop, you can just type in www.samisonline.com and then the page pops up and then you populate what you want, put in your basket, go to checkout, pay, and then voila, the next day, any other day, you have your product, and then literally you haven't even stepped outside your door. The only time you stepped outside your door was when your bell rang, and then you collected the delivery from the driver. So that in itself was definitely the main reason why we were able to be that. But then as we evolve, incentives come into play. Even as we speak, even our present platform now, we're replatforming it because we've also identified through technology that we can actually give our customers a better experience, end to end, the lifetime of a journey. So, for example, because of the challenges of logistics and, the way things have been over the years, sometimes we don't even know that there have been any issues because the journey has always been one-sided. For example, we complete an order and then it goes out and that's it. We don't even get a notification from these guys or anything. And then we expect, okay. And then 2 or 3 days after, we get an email saying, I've placed my order and I haven't received it and all of that. And we're thinking, okay, how come? Have you tracked it? Oh, we tracked it. Sometimes they said, go back to the sender of the product. And we're thinking, why are you telling them to come back to us? We don't have the product anymore. It's with you guys. You guys should be the one sort of sorting them out and everything. So it comes back to us. But now we have a new technology on our website that not only do you get an email notification that your order is on its way to you, you get a text message, you get a WhatsApp message. If there's a delay of any sort, you get a text message, you get a WhatsApp message, and there's a link that you can click on and check to see where you are or where your goods are. Even if it's damaged, you get a message that says, oh, your box is damaged, it's been returned back, it's been brought back to where it's originated from, please contact them and let them know. So innovations within this technology has even helped us a lot, even this year alone. And then we continue to look for better technology to help us drive the business and put us in a much better position than we were.
Fantastic. So you've mentioned that the e-commerce platform are key to the operational side of your business. So if we look at it from the marketing side, how have you utilized technology to market and make people aware of what you're doing as a business?
Well, right now with the social media elements, I'm not even sure where our business would be or stand without same technology, but this time from a marketing point of view.
Yes.
Social media platforms. And it's just, I'm sure you have wondered what has happened to the world. The world is so fast paced right now that if you're not in tune.
Very true.
If you're not in tune, you look out your window like, okay, what decade am I in? It's just so swift, it's unbelievable. So it's even as much as it's not new, it feels new every day. I don't know if that makes sense. So, for example, you have a product that is out of stock. Without technology, you will have driven miles and then you get into your shop or physical store and it goes, oh, sorry, we don't have it. And then you get so disappointed. But then now, all you have to do was, you don't even need to have a number. You follow us on Instagram, you send us a DM and say, oh, I've looked on your website and this product isn't available. When would you have it? We know when we're going to get it. So we say, okay, what's the space you're going to have in a couple of days? But we don't need to contact you back directly because you're following us. All we need to do is we just release the post, the picture of the product now back in stock. So not only are we informing you that you have requested that information a couple of days ago, we're actually now, through that, being able to then say to everybody else, as many as 13,000 plus followers that we have now, that this product is now available. Right there and then. And the next second, that information is available for everybody. You have a product right now and you want it to reach 1 million people. You go into your sponsored ad or you boost your post and it will reach 1 million people. And that's the beauty of technology and what it does now. Yesterday, we hosted influencers Afro brunch experience. So it was a marriage between, because within our business, we have our hospitality thing as well. So we have a restaurant and we wanted to showcase African cuisine, because obviously a lot of people are either born here or a lot of people haven't been back home for a very long time and all that. And we think, let's get people together. Let's tell the world, about African cuisine, the jollof, and there was not an argument. There was the question about which is the better jollof, Ghana jollof or Nigeria jollof. And then the first person that answered, I said, "What are you guys talking about? Have you heard of Gambia jollof?" I said, "Okay."
Someone else has entered the conversation.
Exactly. So that was a conversation of Gambia jollof, Nigeria jollof, and Ghana jollof. But then that's not even the essence. Now the essence is, how are these even prepared? All of these things that we're talking about and people are raving about are made from ethically sourced raw produce. So either your rice or your spice or all of those things. So we're saying this is Samis Online African Food store and is the supplier of highest quality food products here in the UK. And then when you access this product, these are the kind of cuisines and these are the delicacies you can make from it. And then we gathered them together yesterday and they were so excited. But then what I would do is I asked the guy, is probably I'm not sure where he's from, but I think he probably maybe a Northern African, I can't remember. And then I said to him, what does this event mean for you? He said it's to create awareness. Why are we creating awareness? That's what technology will do for you from a marketing standpoint, where whatever you have in terms of culture, in terms of your food product, in terms of your beliefs, is that once you engage technology, the word will be spread. The word will go out there. We're having this conversation, right? I'm in Birmingham, you are in Manchester, and we're having a conversation.
Yes, about African food.
About African food, right?
Yes.
And it's crazy. And the next thing we know is you do what you do with this conversation, and then you put it out there, and then people can access it. That's what technology does for you. So people will then know that, oh, somebody's just coming. I'm looking for where to shop my African food product. Oh, wow, there's a Samis online somewhere where I can get it from. It doesn't matter whether I'm in Wales or Cardiff or Edinburgh or Inverness or Jersey or Guernsey. All I need to just log in, again, technology, I access it, I pay for it, and then it will come to me. I don't need to travel so far and wide. So from this conversation, somebody in a week's time could be accessing something they haven't even accessed in 5 years or 2 years or 3 years and whatnot. And that's what it does.
Fantastic. So you've mentioned how you've used technology and social media to market your products and African food in UK. So it's clear that currently there is demand for the products that you sell. But I was wondering, in the early days, were there any challenges trying to promote and sell African food products in the UK?
Yeah, definitely. I think then, it's so funny. I'm going to ask you this question. Do you remember there's something called flyers?
Yes. Before social media, you had to canvas with flyers.
Yeah. And the only thing you would do with flyers right now, we call it e-flyer.
Yes.
So you just design it and then you're just going to post it and then attach it as an email or newsletter and whatnot. But before then, it's just flyers. And then you then have to look for companies that you're going to pay and then hoping that they will take your flyers.
And not put it in the bin.
Yeah. You'd expect them to, go from door to door and put it through letterboxes. And trust me, you think, okay. And then you can't even measure. You don't even know if they distributed it or not. And even if they did, you're not even sure whether that person that's coming has come from there. So you do that. And then for us, we relied a lot on word of mouth. And I think it was one of the reasons why we set ourselves aside that we needed to be unique in a different way. And that meant that we were honest with what we do. We let people know. I always say that if there's anything that you get from us and it comes from us, it carries our label or our brand or even from us, we take full responsibility for it. And I think that helped because then people confidently could refer us. People could tell the other people about us, like, oh, there's this fantastic place where you can get everything. But not only that, their attitude and how they serve you is different, And whilst, it could be said that protect all you have and try not to make losses and whatnot. No, because at the end of the day, it's consumer confidence. If they're confident in what you do and your business, they would always trust you. And I think that's what we've had with a lot of our customers and our customer base, the trust that they've had in the way we deliver our services and our business. But ultimately then, God, I can't even remember. I think it was, probably text messages but then people weren't even comfortable with giving you their mobile numbers and everything. But now people will give you everything because, GDPR, legislation is there. And we as business owners and suppliers and all that, we safeguard it like our life dependent on it, because people have the confidence and the assurance that, their details are safe with you under GDPR, you're not going to mess with it and everything. So, but then before you can even get a phone number, for you to contact somebody, I remember then that we had this very big A-something notebook. I don't even remember what name. You don't use those things these days. When you have things like your tablets and your Remarkable and things you write on. But then you used to have these big books where you then rule it and say, oh, customer serial number, customer name, telephone, email. And it's just so tasking. And it kind of never really survived it because then after a while, somebody has lost the book. You don't even have it and all that. So yeah, those were the challenges then. Without technology, it was a lot difficult, to get things out there. And then even when you did, you couldn't even measure. But now some of these things, you put something out there, even you do sponsor that on it, you can get insights. You know how many people is reached. You know how many people clicked on your link. You know how many people visited your profile.
Yes.
Even on LinkedIn now, you get like, okay, somebody just looked into you. Who are you? And then you say, who are you? What are you looking for?
Amazing. So you've detailed the exciting journey of trying to promote African food in the early days. So looking forward, can you share some upcoming exciting developments or plans for Samis Online?
Yes. We with the foothold that we have in the marketplace and with the continuous requests that we have. So we get a lot of requests these days where people say, oh, even some of our posts, you will see people say, oh, we wish this was in Glasgow. We wish this was in Scotland. We wish Samis was in Manchester and all of that.
Yes.
And on one of the Twitter space that I was on, it was a Twitter space held by Nigerians it's like a community on Twitter, Nigerians in the UK. And, this question was asked of myself, like, what's the plan? When are you coming to Derby? When are you coming to there? I said, we're not coming. Our future grows. No, because when you look at growth, building space, staffing,
yes,
everything, it's a nightmare. Not even only that, costs, utilities, electricity, gas, everything is just immense. But then the question is, we would rather now look into what the online space is providing and build on that and have a more robust platform, have a more robust system that can accommodate for us to grow and then reach more people. We can have one main, as we have, one main platform. You can have a subset and subdivisions of what you have. So what that means is there are different plans that we have. We have the plan of, having our presence a lot more closer to people. And that may take the shape of probably having more fulfillment centers all around, especially in the UK. But I think we're looking more into the global community now because, again, we get requests and we get questions from people in different parts of the world. Are you guys in Spain? Are you guys in France? Are you guys in Portugal? Are you guys in this? When are you coming to that? And with the e-commerce space, you can do that, and that's what our future goal and ambition is for us to get closer to the global community. So we'll take ourselves here from the UK, and then we'll try to replicate ourselves in different continents and different countries of the world, Canada, America, Europe. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's what is exciting me right now, the prospect of that, because it can be done and we will do it.
Brilliant. So you mentioned that element is exciting you in terms of making a more robust system for growth and reaching the global community. So I guess if we keep within that realm, what positive trends in the African food sector are you seeing that you're currently excited about?
I think it's the acceptance of our culture, of our heritage. Let's go away from food. Let's go to music and entertainment.
Yeah.
What's the world talking about now?
Afrobeats.
Everywhere you turn, everywhere you look. There was a post from Selena Gomez that Rema changed our life.
Wow.
Selena Gomez is as good as they get and as they come. And an African, a Nigerian boy. I'm not even sure if Rema is 20 yet or something. And he's saying, this guy has changed my life. She's been in the entertainment scene probably decades. This guy has just turned up, come around, last 2-3 years, and it's changed our life. Burna Boy headlined Champions League final. These men are selling out stadiums. They're selling out anything and everything. I was in Portugal 3 weeks ago for Afro Nation.
Yeah,
I'm talking tens of thousands of people of different nationalities, of different culture, of different ethnicities. Every kind of human species that you can imagine was out there to these guys. Davido headlined, Whiskey headlined, Burna Boy headlined. And that's what it is. The acceptance, We have in our physical store, one day I was there and a European, probably an white English woman, walked in. The level of comfort that she had within the premises was alarming / exciting. She just picked up a basket and then went to a section, picked up a pack of egusi, picked up a pack of crayfish, went into another section, picked up a bag of pounded yam, went into another section, picked up a bottle of palm oil, and then went into the freezer, picked up locust beans. We call it iru. And I just stood there and I was just amazed. Like, wow. And you go to YouTube now, you see a lot of downloads, hundreds of millions of downloads on how to make jollof rice, on how to make this. And people are trying different things. Even within us here, our store, we do suya, the grills. There's a gentleman, he's a white guy. He works for an equipment hire company up the road. Since 2013, so we moved. Since 2013 that we moved to this present premises, for a decade, this guy had come in and bought his chicken suya every week. And one day I stood outside, I said, for your loyalty, I'm going to give you one extra.
Brilliant.
I just said, you know what? I'm just happy that, this has been so wonderful. And I gave him one extra. I said, yeah, this is just it. And he looked at me like, people of other culture, they'd be like, why are you giving me free? And he says, are you sure? Are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. Like, are you sure? He said, yeah, I'm sure. Just have it. Like, you've just been that. So it's exciting, the acceptance of, the African culture, the African heritage. It even gives you the drive and inspiration to, you know what? There's no part of the world that we want to get to with our business and our ideas and everything that we want to do that we will not be accepted. And that acceptance alone is just enough. It's just beautiful.
Amazing. So you're excited about the acceptance of African culture as a whole, the music, yes, the film, the food. So looking forward, how do you see or where do you see African food sector outside of Africa evolving in the next 5 years?
It's going to be immense. I'm not sure if you're aware, some of our cuisines are in Sainsbury's now.
Mm-hmm.
You can go into Sainsbury's and buy our 4-euro, you can buy beans and all that. It's also one of our plans because from our hospitality business we have a restaurant now, we have an approved commercial kitchen and we have approved line of ready meals. We're already selling into our local shops. We have in our own shops and then we're already selling. It's in shops all over the UK now, London, Manchester, all. So different kind of soups, egusi and all of that. We have approval for it and we're ready. But our own approach is that we want, the African community to enjoy it to the fullest first before we push it out there. Even, again, for some other, obvious business reasons. But we're doing that, Right in my lifetime, I've seen African food aisles in the big fives. Now, there's a lot of them now. There's Aldi, there's Lidl and all that. So it's not big five anymore. But I've seen, say, for argument purposes or for just for mentioning sake, I've seen in Tesco just one section. So in an aisle, you can have a section. So in an aisle, you can have 5 sections. Mm-hmm. One section, and they just say, they used to call it world foods.
Yes.
And they will pile all of you in there, Indian, African, and whatnot. And they just give you one part. Now we're occupying almost 3 aisles. So that's 3 aisles times 5 sections. That's about 15 sections. And it keeps expanding and keeps growing. So now they're saying Caribbean foods, now they're saying Nigerian foods. Now they're now starting to, after a while, you're going to see Southern African foods, you're going to see Zimbabwean foods, and that's how it's going to go. And that's the exciting thing, because they, especially here in the UK, with the immigration and a lot of people coming in, these people are going to be catered for, and it makes it exciting. And it's the same thing. Once, even the cuisine starts, because I said to my wife, as I said, what we do here with our cooking, with our delicacies and all that, it needs to get into these places, because before now, you go in there, you find Chinese, you find intercontinental dishes, you find Italian pizzas and everything, but there's no African food, even in the house and everything else. And now it's getting into it bit by bit. And that's what I see happening, with the African food within the next 5 years. It's just basically acceptance, because when you look around you, you look at the demographics of people that are coming into the shops to buy, you would see a lot of mix, you will see a lot of diversity. And when you look into that from a business standpoint, you will have to cater for that diversity. And, and that drives, your business plan and your business growth as well. And that's what's driving us as well, especially what's driving us to actually not only with the foothold that we have in the UK, that we need to reach out, to the European countries and the neighboring countries and the world at large.
Brilliant. So looking closer to home, where do you see yourself and Samis Online in 5 years' time?
Well, globalization, world takes over. There's nothing stopping us, it's doable with the right funding, with the right team, with the right resources and tools. We can do it. It's a no-brainer. And it's got to happen, because it's the same with every other different businesses out there, whether you're a startup, whether you're in fintech or anything whatsoever, even when you look at the Deliveroo's of this world, you look at different businesses of this world, how eventually you've got to be global. Right now, even in Nigeria, there's Uber, you go to places, you find Bolt. There's nowhere in the world right now that there's not a taxi company or a transport system that isn't on an app. So if all of those businesses can be global, can be worldwide, why can't our business, Samis Online, be global and be in every country on every continent? And that's what our goal and objective is for the next 5 years: globalization, world takeover.
And I can definitely see it happening.
I say it first on Tessa Adamu's podcast.
It's an exclusive. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Quote of the week.
As people, we often have quotes, mantras, African proverbs or affirmations that keep us going when times are good or when times are challenging. Do you have one that you can share with us today?
Yeah, I think I've said one before. One of my very favorite ones is, if I can't eat it, I can't sell it. And I think I also have the one, it's not necessarily a proverb, but I always say that the world is there for the taking. If you're brave, if you have it in you, if you have the oomph, you have the bravery and all that, there's nothing that is beyond anybody. There's nothing that is beyond achieving. Set your goals right, set your targets right, believe in yourself, remain true to yourself. Don't get distracted by noise. If you're true to yourself, you know what you're about, you know what your objectives are and everything, you know what you're good at, you stick to it, Don't copy people, don't envy people, because we're all on different journey. We all have different grace. What would work for me wouldn't necessarily work for you. And I see that every day, businesses even around us that just wants to copy and do what we're doing, not having an understanding of the thoughts that were put behind it, the objective, the goals, where we want to be. At the beginning, early stages, we've had even our own sort of African within the community, where I've literally had to say to people like, I'm not your competition. We're on a journey and we're better working together than sort of trying to stifle ourselves or compete firstly or whatnot. There's a way we can work together. There's a way we can leverage on each other's abilities and contact and networks, and everybody will be fine. And as I say to people, like, even in this environment, we're not even serving 10%. If we 10% of the community or the numbers of Africans that we have in Birmingham, if they walk through our doorstep, we can't cope. We can't even serve them. So all of the other numbers, either through accessibility, nearness and access and all that, they'll come to you. So don't even think that, Samis can take all the customers, or Samis is, aggressive in his marketing or his social media activities because he wants everybody. It's impossible. Everybody will not be our customers. There's this saying that from one of my mentors said, funny thing is, if you open up your door and you say everything in your shop is free, some people will still not work in. They will not come in because they think, if it's free, then there's
something wrong.
Either there's something wrong with it, and then some people come up with the conspiracy theory of maybe they're going to initiate you into something that you don't want. Like, I'm not going there. I'm like, it's free, no chance. So, and that's the crazy thing about the world. Even there are some things that you look at it and you say it's a pound. How can this be a pound? There's something wrong with it. Sometimes some people say, it's very expensive. I say, how do you mean? How much do you think it should be? And they say this time, I say, it's not possible though. And I'll break it down for you. Cost of packaging, cost of labor, cost of transport, cost of this, customs and everything. How can it even be? And they go, oh yeah, that's true. So it's like that. So those are some of the things that I think about all the time in my journey as a businessman. And I just want to put it out there, like, just do you. Be you, whatever it is that you believe in, run with it with all honesty and integrity, because that's what's going to sustain you. Shortcutting things, being dodgy, being whatever it is, it's not going to, because you get found out, you get caught out. But then stick to your guns, stick to your honesty. It would always make a way for you. Thank you.
Perfect. So we've come to the end of today's conversation. Extremely enlightening and educational. Before we finish, I was wondering if you had any closing remarks, final calls to action for people who are interested in the work that you're doing or are interested in exploring African cuisine, African food.
Well, thank you very much, Tessa. I think it's been, like I said at the beginning, I said it was an honor, and I think it's been an honor as well. That in the pool of a lot of very resourceful and people around the world that obviously have been identified to have this conversation with you. And I'm very grateful for that. From a closing remark point of view, I think, like I said before, the world is for the taking. But the one thing that is always very dear to my heart is that people don't jump the gun, don't cut corners. One of the best things you can do for yourself is seek education and seek mentorship. It's not about, and a lot of people say, I don't want people to know what I'm doing or what I want to do so they don't steal my ideas. Trust me, there's no new ideas. We're all just...
Very true.
We're all just fine-tuning and just making it nicer. So the span of an activity or something would have something missing. We're all just looking for that missing thing and then developing it to make it better. You're going through a process, you're trying to just see, can it be faster? Can it be more effective? It was next day, can it be same day? What's it going to take? That's what the world is all about. And that's why the wheel just keeps spinning. There's no new ideas anywhere. So you're better off even sharing what your idea is, and then some people can help you. There's funding aspect to think about. There is there's so many other, even in the fleshing it together, where put it out there, you're thinking, how do I do this? I do a lot of consultations, especially with people that wants to start in the African food business, saying, okay, we see you, Mr. Samis, and how can we do this? How can we do that? I say, yeah, please reach out to me by all means, and I'll tell you what it is. First, we'll talk the numbers. Numbers don't lie. If you're having ideas and we're thinking, you're starting to tell me some things, I'll tell you, you might as well just go and get a 9 to 5. That's not going to work. Because already the first steps, you've even got it wrong. But then if you're passionate about it and that you're willing to be educated and know more about it, then I can engage you. So it's one of those things. A lot of people don't even know how to do costing. You don't know how to do product costing. And that means that you're going to get thrown about the whole place. We've had people, I've gone into people's stores before And I've asked this question, why are you selling at this price? Do you even know how much you pay for it? He says, yeah, I know, but they said, this is how much they're selling it in Samis. But that's not true, though. How could you tell? If somebody is selling at a price somewhere, and if you've done your markups properly, then you couldn't be bothered what that person is selling, because your markup is the only thing that's going to sustain you in your business. So mentorship, guidance, it's very important. So just so that you don't have to make mistakes. You don't have to, because mistakes can be costly. You can have an investment of £50,000 or £100,000 and everything will go boom. You wouldn't even know what you did with it if you didn't get the right guidance and whatnot. So I would say in anybody's journey in life, whether it's in the African food business or even in your 9 to 5, you want to get into IT, you want to get into fintech, anything you want to do, find guidance, get educated, know what it's all about, and continue to evolve, continue to do a lot of self-development, because it's only then that you can continue to embed yourself, because before you know it, you can get drawn out of your own self, you can get carried away, you can get distracted. And that's what I would just like to put out there. And, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very reachable. I'd love to continue to give my 2 cents to anybody and everybody within the community that wants to, especially in this line of business, you want to get into it. I'm happy to engage. And because, one of my mantras is we're better together, and we can do a lot more working together than working against ourselves.
Fantastic, and a perfect way to close today's conversation. Thank you for joining us today, Segun. Your passion for promoting African food products of the highest quality is truly inspiring. It's clear that your dedication has made significant impacts on the African community, both in the UK and beyond. So, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Tessa. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
We will speak soon.
No worries. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you to everyone who has listened and stayed tuned to the podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share, or tell a friend about it. You can also rate, review us in Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your podcast. Thank you, and see you next week for the Unlocking Africa podcast.